welcome. It's the DNA, the fiber of football. It's Dr. and Andile on this AFCON podcast. 12 games have been played so far. But most importantly, Group E, Bafana losing their first match of AFCON. The facts were there to be told, to be seen. Hugo Bruce selecting a starting 11 that consisted of, 7 Sundowns players. But many feel it should have been one more defensively. We'll talk about that and so much more, but also we'll take a look at Group E, where Bafana find themselves, because Namibia have laid the gauntlet. They won that first match, Dean Hotter scoring that goal there, and then you've got Mali scoring 2 past South Africa with 2 games to play. Tunisia, as well as our next game, a derby with our neighbours, Namibia. Can Bafana make it out of the group? Firstly, before we even go there, let's paint the picture. Doggy, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy.
Let's paint the picture.
Yeah.
Right boy.
Yeah.
Because now there's more teams at AFCON than ever.
Yeah.
Which means you can still come number 3 at Group E.
And qualify, yes.
Only 8 teams go home after group stages.
After group stages, yeah.
So Bafana can afford to lose one game, draw one game, and win one game and still go through.
But in essence, this is not what we want. We just want them to do what is expected out of them. You know, yes, of course, they might have lost the game against Mali. It's an unfortunate situation because they played very well the first 35 minutes, I would like to believe. Then there comes an unfortunate penalty, Leo Pesi and Misile. And Andile, look, that's the package of the game. You know, those are the ups and downs of the game. I once missed the penalty. We played Algeria in the quarterfinals. And it was raining. And it was 0-0 by then. And Algeria, they had like a star-studded team. I missed the penalty. But the beauty about the whole thing, the guys, because I was like, my head was down. My teammates, and I remember very well vividly, because I could hear most of them say, no, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. Let's fix this. And remember, by that time, we were like firing in all cylinders. Not in my memory or not in any way close, Fish will be the one that would score the first goal to equalize. And Shoes the late Maisol scored the second goal. Now, what I'm trying to paint a picture is that penalty missed, but what are we doing about it after that as a collective?
Okay, Mark Fish was young then, but you had a leader in Mokoko, you had a leader in Roo, you had a leader in even a David Nyati. There were so many leaders that could say to you, whoa, who are the leaders in this team? Because I've got Temba Zwane, who's not much of a speaker.
Of course, speaker, yeah.
You've got Pesitao himself as a senior player.
Yeah.
And then you've got Ronan Williams who's a senior player.
Yes.
Maybe Ulu who's a senior player. Are there enough senior players that can say, hey, pack her up, let's go?
Look, at the end of the day, I think they are. They do have, for the mere fact that they are there representing the country. The entire squad's supposed to be all the senior players. They're supposed to be having one common goal to say, we go down as a team. We go up as a team. Because, like you pointed out, David Nyati. David is very calm and
very soft-spoken.
Hello, but Tony. He will tell you, "Don't worry, boy," you know. And you know, Mdava, the late Chipa Masinga, you know, Mark Williams. We were all captains. So what I'm trying to say is that he might have missed the penalty. But then, are we going to say because of that penalty? I may see. But there were ample time to rectify that. And that's a reason why, but we play as a team, but an individual makes a difference.
Percy said at the end of the match when he did the interview, and he said it twice.
Yeah.
He said, we missed the penalty.
No, he's right. We missed the penalty.
We missed the penalty.
Yes, because I don't want to even talk about the Tebza and Percy saga le abakhuluma ngayo ukuthi they wanted to take it or whatever. But Percy took the penalty and he missed it. We can't reverse that. It's gone. It's finished. So let them sit down as a country, as a team, and rectify the situation. Because at the end of the day, it's not lost. They still have 2 games, which are very tricky, but I would like to believe good. Bangas Pagamisa.
Where and how did we lose that game?
We made silly mistakes defending, especially from the back. And I hear a lot of people talking about Kulu might have cost us the game. But at the end of the day, he was not all by himself. Because in football, if you make a mistake, you're not going to be singled out to go to Andile. You did that. We're all involved in that. Because when we win, we celebrate together. So after we missed the penalty, I think then the hopes started to drop.
Oh, that's early, dog. That was what, 14th minute?
Yeah, 14. Because even though they were keep on trying to come, but I could tell the body language of some of the individuals, it dropped. So they need sometimes to understand, Uguti, when it gets tough, there are those individuals that are now needed to make a difference because we play as a team, but that individual makes a difference. In reference to 96, when the going gets tough, Clive will always say in the dressing room, let's look for 10 and 15. So we had a way of overcoming certain things. You understand? If Doc is not on song, Shoes will. If not Shoes, Hellman. He will do that, And if the midfielders cannot do it, you'll find the Mark Williams, the Sean Bartlett, the Chipa Masinga. And for that matter, Fish and the late season Tau will come to the party. So we have all departments covered. And why is it that we never had a problem with the goalkeeping department? Because everything was solid. So this is why I'm saying, Uguti, they need to regroup and Bas challenge, Uguti, listen, it's gone, but we have learned a lesson from it. Now it's time for us to go out there and let's try and get 3 points against Namibia.
What changes do you make in the squad that will start against Namibia? Do you leave the back four as is? Do you leave the midfielders Pelelo and Debza defensively as is? What about Temba Zwane, Persitao feeding, and Mahopa, the sides, Maseko started the game, which is a big surprise.
Okay.
Do you leave that as is? Or do you make some changes?
Personally, I don't want to be misinterpreted as much as a lot of people, publications, I don't want to mention their names, because they just wait for this podcast and then Kanabati Doc says, Doc that. So I know, Abantabaning, they're getting paid because of what we say. I would like to believe, Uguti, in this situation, because now we're desperate, but I don't want them to go there, but desperate. We want them to go there and enjoy themselves and play the game. So coming to answer your question, Yako, we considered 2 goals. And second half, everything lapsed. Ne? Are we not going to be able to get probably a player that will be a reference up front there and Makoba maybe some sacrifice? Okay? And then we might play with a dummy striker because sometimes countries, they plan based on what you did the previous game. So disguising our play, we can even get Temba to be the dummy striker like sometimes they use him, or a like of Morena. They sometimes use him as a dummy striker. You don't have to have an outright striker. So the least that you want now is confidence. How do you build confidence in the players? Possession, more touches of individuals, being comfortable in the areas of the field. And then the last thing, you need to be aggressive but calmly. Not haphazardly, whereby you attack. Then the second phase, which is defense, you find yourself wanting, which is what happened against Mali. We attack, then the next thing, loss of possession, we're not set. So those are the certain things that I would probably change. And also now, we need now a Kasi mentality.
So personnel, Makgopa is the only one you change?
Look, make no mistake, I'm not saying he is bad.
No, you're saying you'd sacrifice him for the greater.
I will sacrifice based on our opponents. Because if we're going again with the Mali strategy or same team, so we're playing it in their hands. Because obviously they know Makgopa is striker, so two players, obvious central defenders. But can't we disguise with a striker that's not going to be a point of reference, but he's a dummy striker. He doesn't sit there. So he only visits seldom sometimes. So let's see, what are they going to do with the two central defenders? And let's allow our fullbacks, as much as we have them that come from Sundowns, it's within their DNA. They are the ones that actually add numbers going forward. Let's not restrict them. Let's go back. I'm not saying let's use Sundown style, but remember, you chose them based on their performance. Now, you cannot now start to change them in 3, 4, 5 days. So let's play based on or according to the strengths of individuals and the strengths of a group and the strengths of a team. So those are the tactical dynamics.
Okay, I'm going to do, remember, hashtag 10bet Bafana. Let's support Bafana. And whenever you do speak Bafana, hashtag 10bet Bafana. Let's do a 10bet 10 here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you the player of the players that played. And you give me your rating out of 10. We're going to start in goals. Ronan Williams conceded 2 goals, but also was one of the best players on the field because the saves that he made, even with that free kick that ended up being a goal, that was a save from Ronan Williams.
Of course.
Sianda Kulu playing a back pass with his head, one-on-one, he saved it.
Yeah.
What do you give Ronan Williams out of 10?
Out of 10, I would say 8.
8 out of 10?
Yeah.
Let's go to Mudiba.
Mudiba, 7.5. Mvala, I would say I had a problem with the central pairing and it actually exposed them. So it's below 5.
Does that go the same for Sianda?
Yes.
Same for both of them?
Both. It has to.
So you think because the central pairing was both problematic?
For me, now I'm talking football language, I'm talking as a coach. The central pairing, the social factor was not there. The understanding, the trusts, the belief, and the cohesion in terms of, if you look at a Kekane, Mvala combination, how they combine when they're at Sundowns, you feel there's a build-up. You feel this defensive face. Now there, you couldn't feel it. Building up, it was a bit erratic.
Okay.
Do you understand what 100%. I'm trying to say? And I'm not bashing any player, but I'm just...
Facts stated on the game.
Facts,
not on their careers, but on the one game.
So we need to probably have a look also in that department to say,
is it worth bringing in Grant?
Bring in Grant or leave it the way it is, because that's the second last line of defense. So you don't fiddle around with it, and especially in a tournament. But if you have a player that has played with the very same individual, then do not make a haphazardly change or a harsh change.
What about a height factor then, Tony?
No, I understand. The point I'm trying to drive here. If you want to sacrifice Kulu, you need to sit him down for him to understand, because sometimes you can dampen that spirit. I mean, at all. So you need to say, listen, it's not your fault, boy. but I just want these two to play together. And let's see if this plan of mine will work. But there's nothing wrong with you.
Okay.
You understand? So that's how I can do it, yeah.
Kuli Samudao, Sailor.
Kuli, I would have loved to see him the way he operates at Sundowns, but again, the personnel and probably the way of approach might have denied him, because he's the best right back ever. You know, he didn't do exactly what I'm always always see what he does when he's at Sundowns, you know, and there was a little bit of restriction, but I'm not too sure what the dressing room was all about. But from where I'm seated, because the game is the teacher, there were a little bit of restriction in him doing what he's best at.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
You understand what I'm saying? So
the freedom of the park wasn't there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Ukhumbule ukuthi umdawu uzokushayela i-final third entry in 4 minutes of attack. Mawuthi uyambheka nangiya laphana uyoshaya cross. Mawuthi uyambheka uyoqeda umuntu. Mawuthi uyambheka uyokorayo. So those final third and inside the box entries were not there. For him to add that number, it was not as much as I, as an individual, have seen him doing it at Sundowns.
So what are you giving him out of 10?
So for that, unfortunately, it will be 6.5.
Whew! That's brutal. Okay, it's fabulous at all.
It's not brutal.
I know you expected a lot more of him.
Yeah. Mina, there's. It's just that I don't want to mention players that are not there. But there's also one underrated right back in one of the PSL teams that I like. But Khulisi, we it.
Yeah.
And for the mere fact to convince the technical team to say, hey, I'm raising my hand for that right back. Ungakhohlwa ukuthi Mobi bekayibambile ngoba ivisa yakhe bokuyi-10 yevisa wekaMobi, but umkhulisi wathi akhona ngifuna 20. Now I like that. So hence I'm saying, justifying my opinion, akangenzelanga the way bengifuna ngakhona, not knowing what might be the problem.
Now we knew with Kimora as well as Bissouma, we'd have a handful. We needed to stop them in the middle before they could go forward,
yes.
right? And we went with Pepe Lestore. Let's start with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Pepe, Mr. Stole, I would like to believe ukuthi if, as sometimes, man, when you have this kind of players, it's coaching. You know, the Jomosono will say, hey boy, yazi ukuthi unzima kanjani wena. Molphetho, sometimes ungalphasi. Ngena, eskrima shabalala, shakes mashaba. You know, it's a classy coaching, but with an effective tactical approach. Mr. Sono once said to me, hey boy, we play in Ghana. Omankwa uyaya. Ungalingi umlandele kaqela hlala la ulinde. Tinkla Linda nina nimaki. Each and every ball esilithola silidlalela kule out. Wena mawulithola ukhufo uyozuza number 1 umqede boy. And what happened? We beat Ghana because the language and how he spoke to me, I could relate. I could relate. So this kind of young boy, Stole, sometimes let's see. Ngoba yazudlala ngathi uphethe handbrake. Kunento 10% la ngafuna ukuthi pha. Phezu kwetafula.
Sideways passes, backwards passes.
Yes, that is why ngithi ngathi uphethe handbrake ukuthi ethi ngenze lento bathi abayifunayo. But awuthi sike simjeke kancane ngekasi dali. Because this is our strength. Hence, that is why when you coach Brazil, being in English, you get an interpreter. But the interpreter won't interpret exactly the way we could make a con. Also, you beg against Brazilian in order for that boy to be rejuvenated.
So what do you give him out of 10?
Well, 5.5.
His partner in the middle, defensively, Tebza Marambula.
Tebza always he makes a difference. As calm as he is, as quiet as he is, and you could feel a bit of a Mercedes-Benz within him, but not an aggressive Mercedes-Benz. An aggressive, temperamental, a pace in terms of, hey man, it's bad. We need to do this.
Yeah.
Now that's the kind of a player he is. You see him in that ball situation, he's willing to do it. You see him build up attack, he's there. So he's an all-rounder. Now naye mhlawumbe just kancane nje. The very same dose he gets at the club, we needed to instill it.
Which is those long
those passes, yes,
those penetrative passes.
Yes. Boy, the reason why you're here, it's because of what you did in the past 7-8 games at Sundowns. But then don't change it. You know, we need you. We need you to instill that discipline in terms of going forward. Because if we don't hurt the opponent, then what's the use of us being here on the field? So when you say passing sideways, passing backwards, we're not hurting the opponents.
Yeah.
So Tebza is that kind of a player. And remember, I'll remind people, our viewers, Sundowns bought Tebza because Hlompo wa retire.
Yeah.
Now the similarity kulabantu, 35-meter drive.
Yeah.
Bayayishaya. So Sundowns imlandele plus logo, and also to initiate the combination. So there must be continuity.
So when we're stopping a promising attack, they're the best people to give us that break.
That break.
With that one ball.
One ball, yes.
So he didn't do that for you?
He didn't.
What do you give him out of 10?
I'll say 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, our playmaker, the person who makes us tick, the person who, came into Hugo Bruce's squad with much fanfare, late even.
Yeah.
Mshishi Shigabala Tembazwan.
Yes.
What did you make of him in this game?
It's Mshishi. Ngale game, it became a load shedding situation, on and off. And it was for the first time ngibona this thing, kuye. And this is a kind of a player you mold ngabo Sithole and Mokoena. When he's in possession, let him dance, let him dictate, let him give us direction. Allow him. Don't try to compress the capacity of thinking. Don't. Just let it be. Oh, if he takes his coffee black, don't add milk. Don't. Let it be black. So that's the type of a player Themba is. Now, at some instances, he had no options.
Because the short passes.
So manje, again, because social factor is one of the factors that influence performance within an individual. So that understanding between him and Makhupa, bephazamisa kancane. Ngoba uThemba likes to play off a particular player in order for him to maneuver.
But Doggy, he's played with Percy. Play with Percy.
No,
he plays with Masego. Play with Masego. Mudiba was coming up. Play with Mudiba. Play with Tebza. Those are all players he's played with.
But Masego is wing.
But Utembui.
Yeah, but lapana. If now we look at if we want us to compare, so when they do that at Lorcop, these guys, it's either they are inside in order for them to combine, while the Mdiba is utilizing the space in order for them to play there. So now when they hit the lines, it's difficult for him because Bale. So he's only left with Makhuba. So Percy is there, Masego is there. So if only tuck in, in order for 1, 2, 3, that triangle with Makopa is there. Then they can be able to maneuver with those left and right flanks going to support.
And also, if you're inverting those two,
yes.
it gives space
Yes,
to Mudau and Modiba.
Thank you.
So what do you give Temba?
Yeah, well, 7.
And that's not good for a Temba.
No. It's not. Because here we're talking about the reality and the facts of what transpired during the Mali game.
Right, so let's move on from Temba.
Yeah.
Many didn't see him starting. You would have expected Mayambela perhaps to start in that position. But we had the young Thapelo Maseko start.
The young Thapelo Maseko, and I know Uguti, a lot probably would think that I'll be negative, but at any given time and with much more freedom at disposal for him, and let him be that kind of a player that we see also again at Sundowns. He's also one of the players that don't cloud him with too much of complicating things. Let him be. Ngoba istrength salo yamfana ushayilani mara uzohamba nani ngeline nganga kukhona flake azenani kanje.
13th minute cross that Percy Tau receives,
yes.
Doesn't quite,
exactly.
Tame shot.
That's
14th minute crosses again. Okay. That's where we get the penalty.
Yes, that's where we get the penalty. But we needed more of those.
Yeah,
we needed more of those because sometimes I remember there was a time they played Chiefs, and I said, in my own opinion, it was easy to mark him because he's only using left foot. Ne? But then, after that, Wavari came back. That is why, unfortunately, also, Walimala. But when he came back, Ubuye, Seganama variation a few. So, he's still young, but with a brave mind and with also a better experience in terms of gaining it from the Champions League, So, in short, I would like to say, Temba, Masego, Percy, Tebza, asibanikeze the antidote le ezwenza ukuthi the entire team to click and for them to be able to utilize a Makopa. Ngoba if a Makopa can score every second game he played for Paris now recently, now why is it that he finds it difficult in game A1 not to score, or maybe not to have 4 or 5 chances? So that means there's something wrong. The connection is not there. And he's not a bad player. Remember, this is the program that Bruce started when he discovered him, while he was still at Baroka.
Yep.
Now, where is he now? He's now playing Kwilontos. Starting lineup in national team.
Give me a rating for Masego first.
Farewell, Masego, I'll say 7 also.
You've told me about Percy, you've told me about evidence, so just give me their ratings.
Then Percy also 6.5 and evidence 6.
Wowee. That's the Bafana wrap-up. We've told you every single angle of that Bafana wrap-up. But now let's take a look at the group holistically before we do end this version of the podcast. Remember, there are 3 games that Bafana playing in their group stages, and we'll be breaking them down for you with Dr. Khumalo in the DNA with 10bet. Hashtag 10bet Bafana.
Yeah.
You got Mali.
Yeah.
You've got Namibia. You've already secured their 3 points each.
Okay.
You've now got a wounded Tunisia.
Yes.
And a Bafana. Which 2 teams? Let's work on the basis that 2 teams go through here. Does Bafana still stand a chance to get out of this group?
From the look of things, we can't say a wounded Tunisia. Laba bethu baba wounded futhi nenhliziyo ziyahlephuka. They know what is expected out of them. I would like to believe they'll redeem themselves and get the 3 points. And then, as much as everybody thinks, I know Prajay said it in his interview, to say Tunisia is more organized, and all that. The more they are organized, the more you get the likes of Temba to rise. Why I'm saying that? We saw against Morocco. We saw against Al Ahly. We saw against Roger Casablanca. Those are well-organized teams, and those are the versions of Tunisia. So I would like to believe, unless then the situation decides otherwise, but I would like to believe that we have a 6-pointer that is within our hands. Or it's 4 points.
And we hope to go in as third
place.
Calculators out! Let's do the math. How do you stop Shalulile and Dion Hotto?
I'm one individual and I'm one coach that doesn't want to focus on an individual. I can point out their positives and the negatives. The least we could do is make sure that, because Peter has to play based on the supply.
Yeah.
And the supply that he gets from Sundowns, it's on the other side. So angithi manje sokhuluma nga-one incident lapha ku-Sundowns zizazilandelana ama-waves so that is why he's like the best. We can't take anything away from him. A very smart player, a good workaholic in terms of stopping the build-up attacks. One thing that we cannot afford to do, and how we're going to stop him, it's not to make the mistakes we made against Mali.
Because he's got 7 players that he trains with every day. That he plays with every day. A goalkeeper that he knows well. As much as Ronwen knows Peter, yes. Peter knows Ronwen.
Yes. So now he's got an advantage because he's already summed up the entire Bafana, but we're only summing up on him only. We can't sum up Uhoto because the players like Uhoto Lalanabo, they are not making the Bafana team. And Hoto, since he arrived at Pirates, he's been one of my favorite players.
Really?
Yes. His game, he took it to another level. And he's brave. And Hoto, Magain's a mistake. You could tell it's a genuine mistake. And he will try to rectify it. He will try to make it look better. He's very underrated, but he's a smart player. He's also a 2-in-1 player. You can play him as a winger, you can play him as a left back.
I wish they play him as a left back.
You see?
Right, that's it. As far as Group E is concerned, 3 points each at the moment. There is still 2 games to play, so we'll follow this group very closely. It's DNA with Dr. and Andile. Hey, Andile Ncube here. I'm the biggest Bafana fan, and I believe that when we face Tunisia on the 24th, it's going to be a big game because it'll be a do-or-die game. That's the game that Bafana are going to use to qualify to the next round of 16. Do you want to be there and be a part of history? Let's watch together. Come to PDL Lifestyle out at Pimville, Soweto, and let's all watch together. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. There'll be some legends. There'll be some analysis of the game. You can even get involved. PDL, Aslangane Kona, 24th of January, Soweto.